All right, so we're diving into Colorless Sundays today. And, well, it's about this artist, named Philip,
Hmm.
who lives in this world where every Sunday
Okay.
it's literally drained of color. Like everything's just
Wow.
shades of gray.
Interesting.
But here's the thing. It's not like some weird natural phenomenon.
Right.
It's like a societal rule.
Huh.
Everyone just kind of collectively decided that Sundays should be monochrome.
Yeah, like like almost like an unspoken agreement.
Yeah. What do you make of that?
Well, it's a fascinating concept, isn't it? I mean, imagine growing up in a world where you can't, express joy or excitement on a Sunday. It's like
Yeah.
taboo. You might start to internalize that and lose touch with those emotions altogether.
Oh, wow.
It's like societal emotional suppression in a way.
Why, I hadn't thought about it like that.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. And what's really interesting is that Philip starts to see these like flashes of color,
Hmm.
almost like glitches in this monochrome matrix.
Okay.
He describes, an azure scarf,
Right.
a rose tint to laughter. Even the steam from his coffee has this golden hue.
Wow.
Do you think these colors represent something deeper?
Oh, absolutely. Think about the psychology of color.
Yeah.
Blue is often associated with peace and tranquility.
Mm-hmm.
Rose with warmth and affection. Gold with joy and vitality.
Yeah.
It's as if these colors are tied to specific emotions and memories that Philip is subconsciously trying to access.
So it's like color is the key to unlocking his inner world, the
Yeah.
part of him that hasn't been dulled by this
Yeah.
world's colorless Sundays.
Precisely. And the way he experiences color is
Yeah.
almost like synesthesia. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Where one sense is perceived through another. In this case, it's like he's seeing emotions as colors.
Wow.
Makes you wonder if maybe we all have a bit of synesthesia within us, you know? Like
Yeah.
when a song evokes a specific color or a scent, triggers a vivid memory.
Okay, but then there's this woman he keeps encountering in the park,
Right.
and she's surrounded by this aura of violet and gold.
Interesting.
But here's the thing. No one else seems to notice her or these colors.
That's strange.
Could this be a sign that Philip's perception is changing, or is there something more to this woman?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is she a figment of his imagination or a symbol of something else entirely?
Right.
The fact that she's associated with the same colors he sees in his flashes suggests a connection.
Yeah.
But what that connection means is still up for interpretation.
Okay.
It's like she's a puzzle piece that doesn't quite fit yet.
Then we get to the really intriguing part. Philip starts incorporating these forbidden colors
Okay.
into his Sunday paintings,
Mm-hmm.
hiding them beneath layers of gray.
Ah.
He describes these paintings as love letters and maps of his heart.
That's beautiful.
It sounds like he's trying to communicate something, but to whom?
Yeah, it's as if he's creating a secret language, a way to express the emotions and experiences that are suppressed in this colorless society.
Yeah.
He's using art to challenge the norm, to reclaim the vibrancy that's been taken away.
But if no one else can see these hidden colors, what's the point?
Right.
Is he just painting for himself, or is there something more going on here?
Well, that's where the impact of art gets really fascinating, you see.
Yeah.
Even if the viewers aren't consciously aware of the hidden colors, they're still affected by them.
Really?
Think about how certain colors can evoke specific emotions or moods.
Right.
A bright yellow can feel uplifting, while a deep blue might create a sense of calm.
Okay.
It's possible that these hidden colors are working on a subconscious level, influencing the viewer's emotions and perceptions without them even realizing it.
So it's like a subliminal message, a way of bypassing those societal barriers and tapping into something deeper.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder what happens when someone views a piece of art with a completely open mind,
Mm-hmm.
Without any preconceived notions or expectations, could they potentially perceive those hidden colors,
Wow.
those deeper layers of meaning that others might miss?
That's a really interesting question. It's like he's inviting the viewers to see the world through his eyes,
Yeah.
to question what they've been told is normal,
Yeah.
and embrace the possibility of something more.
And that's what makes art so powerful.
Yeah.
It has the ability to challenge our perceptions, to make us think differently, to see the world in a new light.
Right.
And in the case of Colorless Sundays, it's about more than just seeing color.
Okay.
It's about seeing the world and ourselves in a more authentic and perhaps more vibrant way.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. It's interesting, how Philip's art seems to be having a real impact on people. We hear about his gallery having this unique atmosphere.
Right.
Visitors feel lighter, they sense something magical, but they can't quite put their finger on Why do you think it's possible that art can affect us
Mm-hmm.
on a level beyond what we can consciously perceive?
Well, I think Philip's intention is playing a crucial role here.
Okay.
You see, he's not just randomly adding these hidden colors. He's pouring his emotions, his memories,
Yeah.
his longing for a more vibrant existence into these paintings.
Mm.
It's almost like he's imbuing them with a certain energy, a frequency that resonates with the viewers on a deeper level.
So like these hidden colors are acting as a bridge
Yeah.
between
Yeah,
Philip's inner world and the viewer's subconscious.
exactly.
Even if they don't consciously see the colors, they still feel their impact.
Right.
It makes me think about those studies that have shown how certain colors can affect our mood
Mm-hmm.
and even our physical well-being.
Yeah. It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah. Could it be that Philip's art is tapping into that same power?
I think that's a very insightful observation.
Thank you.
And it really challenges us to think about art appreciation as more than just a passive experience.
Okay.
You know, it suggests that there's this dynamic exchange happening between the artist and the viewer,
Yeah.
a sort of energetic dialogue that can happen on multiple levels.
So it's not just about what we see, it's also about what we feel. What we sense intuitively, maybe that's why people are drawn to Philip's gallery.
Mm-hmm.
They're picking up on those hidden frequencies, those unspoken truths that are embedded in his art.
Precisely. And it makes you wonder if there are other forms of communication
Yeah.
that operate on these subtler levels. Think about music, for example.
Right.
Doesn't have a literal meaning, but it can evoke a whole range of emotions and even memories.
Right, or consider body language.
Exactly.
We often pick up on cues and signals that aren't explicitly stated,
Yes.
but that convey volumes of information.
It's like we're all constantly sending and receiving these unspoken messages, whether we're aware of it or not. And art, in a way, amplifies those signals, makes them more tangible.
Absolutely. And in Philip's case,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like he's intentionally using art to communicate something
Right.
that can't be expressed through words alone.
He's trying to break through that societal conditioning, the
Yeah.
imposed limitations of Colorless Sundays, and share his vision of a more vibrant world.
But he's not just shouting it from the rooftops. He's weaving it into the very fabric of his art,
Yeah,
creating a language that can be felt, sensed, intuited.
exactly. And that brings us back to the woman in the park,
Right.
the one who's surrounded by those same violet and gold hues that Philip sees in his flashes of memory.
Yeah.
Remember how we were wondering if she was real or symbolic?
Mm.
Well, what if she represents the possibility of true connection,
Mm.
of someone who can see the world and Philip as he truly is?
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
It's like she's the key to unlocking the full potential of his art.
Yeah,
The one person who can truly understand the language he's speaking.
right.
And the fact that she's drawn to his gallery, that she seems to recognize those hidden colors.
Mm-hmm.
It almost feels like a validation, a confirmation that he's not alone in his way of seeing the world.
Yes, and it raises a really interesting question for all of us.
Okay.
Do we have people in our lives who see us in that way, who recognize our hidden colors,
Yeah.
who appreciate the unique frequencies we bring to the world?
Right.
Or are we surrounded by those who only see the surface, the gray, the accepted reality?
That's a powerful question to consider. And it makes you realize that finding those connections,
Yeah.
those people who resonate with our true selves, can be just as challenging and rewarding as Philip's journey to bring color back into his world.
And it makes those moments of connection all the more precious.
Yeah.
Think about those times when you feel truly seen and understood by someone,
Mm-hmm.
when you can just be yourself without any pretense or masks.
Right.
It's like a burst of color in a world that can sometimes feel monochrome.
It's like those moments are reminding us that we're not alone, that there are others out there
Yeah?
who share our vision, who appreciate our unique way of seeing the world.
Exactly.
And maybe, just maybe, those connections are what help us to shine even brighter, to
Yeah.
bring more color into our own lives and the lives of those around us.
I think that's a beautiful thought.
You know, we've talked about Philip's journey,
Right.
the impact his art has on others,
Mhm.
and even touched on the power of human connection.
Yeah.
But zooming out, what do you think Colorless Sundays is trying to say
Okay.
about conformity and societal norms?
Well, what strikes me is how the story just sets up this absence of color on Sundays as completely normal.
Right.
No one bats an eye. It's just how things are.
Yeah.
And it subtly highlights how we can become so accustomed to limitations
Mm-hmm.
that we don't even realize they exist.
It's like they've been conditioned to accept this grayness as the only reality.
Right.
To the point where they might even fear or reject anything that challenges that perception.
Yeah.
But then you have Philip, with his stubborn flashes of color.
Right.
And his art that seems to be subtly shaking things up.
Yeah.
Do you think he represents a kind of rebellion against those societal norms?
Absolutely. He's a reminder that we don't always have to accept the reality that's presented to us.
Okay.
We have the power to question, to push boundaries, to seek out our own truths. And sometimes that means challenging the status quo and embracing a more vibrant, authentic way of seeing the world.
I'm curious, though. The story doesn't explicitly say that people are unhappy with Colorless Sundays.
Right.
Do you think it's possible to conform to societal norms without necessarily feeling oppressed or limited?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's something we all grapple with to some extent. I mean, think about the clothes we wear, the way we speak, even the opinions we express.
Yeah.
How much of that is truly our own and how much is influenced by the expectations of our culture, our families, our social groups?
Right.
It's a delicate balance between fitting in and staying true to ourselves.
So it's not always about outright rebellion.
Right.
But maybe more about finding those subtle ways to express our individuality within the framework of societal norms.
Exactly, and that's where Philip's art becomes so interesting. You see, he's not trying to destroy Colorless Sundays.
Right.
He's trying to enrich them, to add depth and meaning, to remind people that there's more to life.
Yeah, than what they've been told is acceptable. He's using art as a catalyst for change, for expansion, for a more nuanced understanding of the world and themselves.
It makes me wonder what colorless Sundays we might have in our own lives.
Yeah.
Those unspoken rules or limitations that we've come to accept without even realizing they're there.
That's a powerful question to ponder, isn't it?
It is.
What aspects of our lives have we allowed to become muted, drained of vibrancy? Where have we settled for gray when there could be a whole spectrum of color waiting to be discovered?
Right.
And most importantly, what steps can we take to reclaim that color?
Yeah.
To bring more authenticity and joy into our lives?
It's almost like the story is giving us a set of tools.
Yeah.
Not just to analyze the fictional world of Colorless Sundays, but to examine our own lives, our own choices, our own perceptions.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it.
Thanks.
And it reminds us that we're not just passive observers of this story.
We're active participants in our own lives. We have the power to choose the colors we want to paint with, the stories we want to tell, the realities we want to create.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Colorless Sundays, it's not just about a world without color.
Yeah.
It's about the potential that exists within each of us to challenge the status quo, to embrace our unique perspectives, and to create a world that's a little bit brighter, a little more vibrant.
And it's a reminder that even in a world that can sometimes feel monochrome, there's always hope.
Yeah.
There's always beauty, and there's always the possibility of finding those hidden colors that make life worth living.
I really like that.
Thanks.